Back in 1812, some bright members of Congress decided that if the U.S. military were to march up into Canada, the Canadians would welcome them as liberators with flowers and chocolate. And it didn't work out. And in the course of that idiotic disaster, to be repeated repeatedly, and these wars of Canadian liberation are many, as well as liberation of other places, there was a battle in Baltimore. And during this battle in Baltimore, ships were shooting cannons at each other, and lots of people were getting killed, and many more would die soon from disease, and a lot of people didn't survive. But a colored piece of cloth survived, and we celebrate that victory as our national anthem. And if I look over this way, I see the glorious Star-Spangled Banner on a flagpole. And I think if we are going to imagine there are no countries, as I think we should, and I think we probably have to, if we're going to overcome what we're up against, we have to damn well start imagining there are no countries, and stop displaying that flag, which is a war flag. Get it out of here. And stop identifying with a government that is essentially a military plus some side services, as if it's the core of our identity. Identifying more as an American than as someone from your town or your community or your state or your planet. And you know, there's nothing wrong with cheering for the United States in the World Cup, but if you're sitting there lifting a beer and saying, oh look, we scored a goal, you're identifying in a way that becomes dangerous when you start saying we were attacked and we have to bomb this place. You know, if we imagine there are no countries, it has to completely revolutionize how we use the words we and us and our. And it's very, very difficult because we've all spent decades doing it a different way. It has to, if we become world citizens, even just in our intentions, we have to have a very different attitude about helping other people in other countries when they need help. We have to stop saying things like bring our war dollars home. No, change our war dollars into good, useful dollars at home and abroad. There's more than enough to go around. There's beyond our wildest dreams for everybody to share. We also have to develop some humility in asking the rest of the world to help us. Not be offended when a country wants to help out New Orleans after Katrina. Not be outraged if the rest of the world cares about people with no water in Detroit. There was a notice recently for Actions Today, I believe, in everywhere it said, and nationwide, as if these were equivalent. This is out of Ferguson, Missouri. We need solidarity actions everywhere. We got to have this nationwide campaign. Well, and we're talking about the militarized police, or militarized because of the military as the global police force. We have to start thinking of everywhere as everywhere, and appreciate when the activists in Cairo buy pizza for the activists in Madison, Wisconsin, and build those relationships if we're going to have the strength to go on. And we have to think not only of those people far away from us as us, have us mean them. We also have to include future generations and other species and the environment, and as having rights the same as ours, as Jill described in Bolivia. And Bolivia is not alone in giving rights to non-humans. The United States does too, just corporations is the only non-humans. So we have to switch, which, I mean, when the Declaration of Independence was written, it was imagined that rights were somehow inherent in the human body. You know, you could slice someone, oh, here's the right to free speech, and here's the liver, you know. But rights is just an invention, and if we're going to give them to something, give them to things that it's useful to give them to. You know, give them to environments, give them to ecosystems, give them to human beings, every single one in equal measure. We need to move toward a real abolition movement when it comes to war. End it, don't mend it. Stop fixing it. Stop lamenting military waste more than we lament military efficiency. Stop criticizing wars because they leave the military ill-prepared. We want the military ill-prepared. We want it reluctant to go into additional wars. And stop accepting nationalism everywhere you see it. Do not let children be trained as little robotic fascists to pledge their allegiance to a piece of cloth. Do not stand and cover your heart and sing to the celebration of a flag surviving an idiotic and massively deadly war. Stop honoring troops. Stop thanking people for services unless they've done a service. Stop allowing war entertainment. Stop allowing war toys. Stop failing to object impolitely and outraged to things that are routine and normal and done thoughtlessly in our culture. Not just do we need to teach wars better in our schools, but we need to do away with these history courses that consist of nothing but wars. If each day and each month and each year in our past were covered in the same space in our history books, wars would not be there, but in a minority of the pages. And wars are just about everything in kids' history books. It's war to war to war. There's a great online course for mathematics that I love for kids learning math, but they've started developing other subjects. And on history, they have literally nothing. It's called Khan Academy. They have nothing but wars. Literally nothing but wars, as if that's all there is to history. And it gives people this bizarre idea that it's in our nature and it's inevitable and it's everywhere and it's in our genes, because they think it has been always everywhere. And we need to expand outside of our culture, of our peace choir. We need to include more people. There should be people here in this room next year who don't agree, who think there should be wars, and there shouldn't be a debate. It should be, as Kristen has said, a discussion, a sharing of views, an attempt to come to better understanding with each other in a loving, non-hateful way that confronts the issues. WorldBeyondWar.org would love your participation and involvement, and we just held a great event in Washington, D.C. and put on our website a model and a kit and videos and PowerPoints and available speakers and everything else to hold a similar event anywhere. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, I've started recently working with the War Resisters League, which is doing wonderful work on on the militarization of local police, and I encourage you to get involved with the War Resisters League. I'm doing online work at rootsaction.org, and there are limitations to what you can do from your chair at home, but they are not total, and the list of victories that our online efforts have been a part of are there on the website. We also have created a do-it-yourself site where you or your organization can set up a petition, and we'll help you promote it, and you won't be contributing to some pro-war or independent, unreliable website that offers that kind of service. I would just close by praising the morality of the peace movement of the 1920s and 30s that I've written a book about called When the World Outlawed War, and in particular of war profiteer Andrew Carnegie, who, like the founders and creators of many organizations and institutions that are still around, including the Nobel Committee, that blatantly disregard their mandate, he created what's called the Carnegie Endowment for Peace with a very clear mandate, and it was this: get together, put everything you have into eliminating all war and preparations for war from the world, and then convene a board meeting, figure out what is the second most evil thing on earth, and begin the campaign to eliminate that. Why that isn't the basic morality of every human being on Earth is beyond me. And of course we have to replace war with other things in terms of foreign relations and international communications and negotiations. It's not all negative and not positive, but eliminating what does the most harm from Earth and then figuring out what does the second most harm. And we're going to have to do it, as Jill keeps telling us, jointly. We're going to have to take on the militarism and the racism and the extreme materialism as a whole and be rainbow peacemakers, if not rainbow warriors, until we get it done, which we quite easily can, and I look forward to working with you on it.